Do y'all teach your kids anything at home? Teachers are pissed. Let's get into it.
I'm a former teacher and now parent, and I can see a splitting that's happening in society, and it has nothing to do with politics. The splitting is parents who teach their kids versus those that don't. Why are teachers leaving in droves? And many of them are homeschooling their kids. If you were just leaving, it's one thing, but leaving and pulling your kids is a whole nother part. And from a general sense, we have dumbed down schools. We're eliminating gifted classes, and just the class structure itself has changed. So what an honor student looks like today is not what it looked like 20 years ago. And the bottom, which used to be a baseline of had some semblance of knowledge and intellect, is now unable to read, unable to write, unable to think. And the school systems are passing these kids along regardless of that. Now, what teachers see is the dumbing down of society, the bringing everyone down. And so you might be the parent who's saying like, but I teach my kid, so they're going to be okay. Are they?
You heard the man. Stop sending those dumbass kids to school. I'm sorry. No. They're not dumb. They're just they need better guidance, okay? Look, man, kids are a handful. I got two myself, I know. You couldn't pay me enough to go into a classroom with 25 of those little gremlins. There's no way. God bless these teachers, man. They put up with a lot. But it is on the parents, too. These parents, a lot of them, not really doing shit. The iPad and YouTube is raising the kids now. Parents need to do better.
I'm asking for a friend. How am I supposed to teach for 30 more years? How?
Teachers are quitting mid-year again, at record numbers. Is one of the reasons why. A student who wasn't assigned to me or my classroom was let into my room by another adult, a teacher's aide, and repeatedly ignored my direction and instructions to leave. Eventually, she repeatedly called me a and threatened me with physical violence, which sent me into a panic attack. I called the office for support, and as soon as the dean of students showed up to my classroom, I left and I went to the stairwell to go cry and have a panic attack. Once I calmed down, which took my entire lunch, I was expected to go back and teach my classes because we had a sub shortage and nobody could cover my classes for the rest of the day. By the end of the day, the videos that the student took of me circulated amongst the student body, and I ended that day sitting at my desk feeling the most powerless and defeated that I've ever felt in my entire life. The student was not given a consequence that was fitting. She was sent home for the day. That was it. I received no apology, no restorative circle from the student or the adult who let them into my classroom, and the paraprofessional received no disciplinary actions. He stood in my classroom and allowed his student to speak to me in a degrading, violent, and disrespectful manner. After that class period was over, I had several students come up to me and say that they wanted to jump to my defense, but they were also afraid of that student and afraid of for their own safety. That's when I knew the profession I once loved was no longer the profession I needed or wanted, and I left a month later. Teachers aren't leaving because they don't care about the kids. They're leaving because the system no longer lets them teach kids. They're not allowed to teach self-management. They're not allowed to teach respect or accountability anymore. We are told to keep the peace, keep the bodies in the room. Some are even told to pass at 20%. Just get the kid the diploma. Pass them along so that the data looks good. But when we do that, we're not protecting the students. We're doing them a disservice because they are walking into a world that will hold them accountable. We could have taught them how to handle that with grace, empathy, and reflection, but instead we're told to look the other way. Teachers quitting mid-year every single year is not an exodus. It's self-preservation. And deep down, it's heartbreak because they want to stay.
Sometimes these kids, I don't understand how they ended up to this point. You know what I mean? Like, I teach 8th grade history, and I have 110-ish students. 2 of them are reading on grade level right now. 18 of them are at a kindergarten level. 55 of those students are between a 2nd and 4th grade level. That's a lot of them. And that's typical of what I've seen lately from students. But it's not just literacy. It's not just literacy, and it's not just like lack of content knowledge. It's not just critical thinking skills. It's basic thinking skills. My students can decode almost nothing. They cannot apply inference. They cannot process questions that are longer than a sentence. They cannot connect cause and effect. They can't track multi-step ideas like in a political cartoon. And it's scaring me a little. Like, I see it every single day. I had a kid yesterday, 4 kids actually. This happened in every class. We were doing guided notes, supposed to be a real easy day. It was review. They wrote down Maryland was founded as a safe haven for Catholics. It was on the board. They wrote it down. And before we moved on, I call on a student and I ask, hey, where were the Catholics one more time? And these students, what they do is they look at me and then they look at their notes and then they look at the board. They look back at their notes. And some of them never answered me. They never figured out the answer. It was wild. And I kept giving them hints, like rephrasing the question and saying, like, it's in your notes. We just wrote it down. We just wrote it down. Where are the Catholics? It's on the board. And they never got it. They can't read their own notes. And I don't mean their handwriting. I mean, like, they can't make heads or tails of it.
Looks like these teachers have no control. Hot take. I had teachers when I was a kid that you were legitimately scared of. Who's going to be scared of that lady with purple hair? I'm just saying. She's probably got her oat latte sitting up there like, class, guys, come on, guys, guys. And the kids are probably just like laughing, looking at her. 6, 7. But seriously, I mean, it's out of control. I feel bad for the teachers, but honestly, like, they need to be able to do more. Bring the paddle back, bro. Bring the damn paddle back. I don't know, man. Like, no, we can't do that. Okay. But it starts at home, guys. You let your kids walk all over you, and then that's the result. They go to school and they're not going to respect the teacher. They don't even respect the parents. So it's you gotta do better at home. That's where I believe this starts. But let's get back to some more of these clips.
10 things kids no longer know how to do, and I don't know why. Number 1, read a clock with confidence. They're always asking, what time is it? What time is it? I'm like, look at the clock. They're like, I don't know how to read that. And they say that to you with confidence. What's happening? Number 2, write in script. Whatever happened to writing in script? I love writing in script. I wish more of them knew how to do this. Number 3, memorize phone numbers. They don't know their parents' numbers. They don't even know what apartment they live in. They don't know what street they live on, which brings me into number 4. They don't know their address. We ask them, where do you live? I live down the block. Well, what's your address? I don't know. I'm talking about 3rd graders, y'all. 3rd grade. And it happened last year when I taught 2nd grade also. Number 5, they don't know how to count money. They don't know how to count money. And it's partially not their fault, right? Because we're always using cards, Apple Pay, things like that. But if you give them a few coins, they don't even know the names of the coins. They don't know the value of the coins. They can't add it all together. Like, what is happening? We got to bring it back. We got to bring it back. Know how to count coins. And you go over it in 2nd and 1st grade. So I'm kind of lost as to why we don't know how to count money, but okay. Number 6, they don't know how to tie their shoes. They have these fancy shoes and they don't know how to tie their shoelaces. Some of them have Velcro, and hey, if it works, it works. But I mean, come on, we should know how to tie our shoes. At 8 and 9, like, what's happening? They don't know their parents' names. I'll ask them, what is your mom's name? They'll be like, I don't know. You don't know your parents' name? They don't know where their parents are from. Like, do you speak to your parents at all? Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
There are so many teachers quitting right now in America, and I can guarantee you it's related to these 3 things. Student behavior and how there are no consequences for horrible student behavior. Number 2, no support from admin at all with the horrible behavior. And then number 3, the amount of work that teachers put in does not equal our take-home pay. And I know what you're going to say, but you get paid for summer and for your breaks. Honey, our salary is broken up into 12 months, but we only get paid for the time that we work. They just do teachers a favor and divide that by 12, so we get paid through the summer. But the amount of work that we do outside of the classroom, insane. Some of y'all wouldn't last a day in our shoes.
Hi, it's Monday, and I'm coming to y'all a little early because I am just absolutely drained. I'm drained, and about 90% of my job in teaching is managing behavior. I know that I could teach anything, but if they're hanging from the ceiling, it's like corralling cats every day, and I mean feral cats. But it's about managing behavior, and I would like to reiterate that I do feel like it has everything to do with the fact that kids used to be more social. They used to be over at friends' house. They would play outside all day with the neighbors' kids. They would be in and out of their homes. And I don't know about you all, but when I was brought up, the village disciplined the kids, right? My parents' friends disciplined us. They held same standards, you know. They would tell us what we could and could not do, and I say that because it's not been ingrained in their souls. I had to argue with a child today who went to get tissues, and when he picked up the box, there were no tissues in the box. And do you know what he did? He set the box back down and didn't dispose of the box. And when I said, do you think that you could throw that away? He said, I didn't do it. I didn't empty that box of Kleenex, so therefore I'm not going to dispose of it. And I want you to take that 14-year-old and I want you to multiply it by 32 at 8:30 in the morning. Or 2:30. Whatever.
You got to have tough skin to be a teacher. I had a teacher cry to me about another student in her class at my son's parent-teacher conference. Like, I don't know what to do. I can't take it anymore. The school won't do anything. I'm looking at the lady like, so my son's okay? You know, I'm not a therapist. I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to do? It's not easy being a teacher, guys. They do deserve support. They deserve our respect, and we need to do better with our kids at home and help these teachers out. And if you like this video, give it a like, damn it.